In the days of Pharaoh, every baby boy born among the Bani Israel had to be killed. Similar to what happened to Prophet Musa, Samiri also became a baby boy who survived the massacre. The difference is that the mother left the baby Samiri in the cave. No one saved him, let alone took care of him. Allah sent Jibril to take care of this baby until finally, the relationship between Samiri and Angel Jibril was so close. Year after year passed. During that time, Samiri grew up. It's just that his attitude became very alienated and closed. He who preferred to be alone and lazy to socialize. Samiri has another name, Musa bin Jafar. Samiri's indifference turned out to be quite long and also quite picky in making friends. The only ones who became Samiri's friend circle were the polytheists who worshipped calf statues. Because he had been influenced by his new environment, Samiri's behavior seemed to start like them. Samiri was already smitten with calves. His admiration for cows had blinded his heart. Indeed, paganism was quite strong at that time. Its influence was widespread, including to the young generation of the Bani Israel like Samiri. When Musa was sent to be a prophet, the Bani Israel were saved from the cruelty of Pharaoh. Samiri was among those who participated in the group. Musa, who survived crossing the Red Sea. After the sinking of Pharaoh, Musa led the Bani Israel to leave Egypt. After crossing the Red Sea, the group headed for Palestine, the promised land for the faithful. The angel Jibril accompanied the prophet Musa and the prophet's brother, Harun. On the way, Musa group stopped at a village whose inhabitants worshipped a calf statue. Instead of obeying the teachings of monotheism, the Bani Israel asked Musa to make a statue for them to worship. Said, "O Musa, make for us a worship." As they have some worship, asked the people who were still influenced by Egyptian paganism. Of course, the prophet Musa was furious at this absurd request. He also reminded his people to worship only Allah Ta'ala and never associate with anything but Him. Since stopping in the village, Samiri's admiration for the calf statue again blinded his heart. He was determined to one day invite the Bani Israel to worship idols. Because of the association with the Egyptians, he knew how to make statues. Satan's whispers further blinded the eyes of his heart. Secretly, Samiri waited for the opportunity to make a calf statue. Samiri's desire to carry out his mission got a chance. On the way, the prophet Musa left the Bani Israel for a while with the aim of getting the revelation of the Taurat from God. At the command of God, Musa went to Thursina Hill to receive the Taurat. Musa planned to go for 10 nights, but then fulfilled for 40 nights. Before leaving, the prophet Musa also entrusted the Bani Israel to his younger brother, the prophet Harun. "Replace me in leading my people. Make things right. Do not follow the path of those who make damage," said Musa. Harun then led the Bani Israel during the absence of the prophet Musa. However, apparently Samiri did not care about Harun's advice. He also invited the Bani Israel to collect all the gold jewelry that had been carried. The gold was collected and then melted on the fire. After the gold melted, Samiri threw the clay that he had stored during the journey from Egypt. With his skill, a statue of a calf was made. Then this man called out to the people of the Bani Israel to worship this statue. "This is the God that Musa sought on Mount Thursina. Worship him," said Samiri, pointing to the statue he had just made. Foolishly, the Bani Israel believed and followed Samiri's bad advice. As a result, they worshipped the calf statue while Musa was away. Meanwhile, Harun was unable to fight the Bani Israel alone. He was also afraid that the people would be divided into physical conflict. Finally, the day came for the return of Prophet Musa. Seeing the current state of his people, how angry and sad his heart was, he only left the Bani Israel for a short time to get instructions that would also benefit them. However, now some of them have become polytheists. Ridiculously, the Bani Israel even made excuses. They were ignorant and self-righteous. "At no time did we break your covenant of our own accord. Rather, we were told to carry burdens from the jewelry of that people, Egypt. So we threw them and Samiri threw them," they said. Hearing this, Musa rushed to Samiri. He was very angry with this man who betrayed his orders and led the Bani Israel astray. "What prompted you to do so, O Samiri?" asked Musa in a high tone. Samiri lightly replied, "I knew something that they did not know. So I took a handful of earth little by little. Then I threw it into the molten gold," he said. Musa was furious and sent Samiri away. The calf statue was immediately dragged by the prophet to the burning fire. Samiri's idol was reduced to ashes. Musa then threw the ashes into the sea. Meanwhile, Samiri left the group of the Bani Israel. He returned to live alone. As Musa said, the maker of the statue would receive punishment in this world and the hereafter. Hell was clearly Samiri's punishment in the afterlife. As for the world, Samiri suffered from a strange disease. His skin could not be touched by anyone. If someone touched his skin, Samiri felt the heat burning her skin. As a result, for the rest of his life, she would always say to others, "Don't touch me." That was the punishment for Samiri, the betrayer. The story of Samiri is found in the Quran Surah, Taha verses 85-91 and verses 95-98.